Hello everyone, welcome to the history class. In this video, I'll be starting with the ninth theme of class 11th history, that is the Industrial Revolution. Now talking about the Industrial Revolution, first thing that we need to know is whatever the industrial development that took place between 1780s and 1850s is called the first industrial revolution that took place in Britain, right? And the second phase of industrial growth after 1850 in new areas like chemical and electrical industries that expanded was called the second phase of industrial revolution. And during the second phase of industrial revolution, Britain fell behind and lost its importance as the world leading industrial power, because new countries like Germany and USA were coming up. Now, to begin the industrial revolution, let's discuss about how the revolution started. First of all, industrial revolution is defined as the changes in manufacturing and transportation that began with fewer things being made by hands but instead made by using in large scale factories. First time this term was used by George Michel in France and then Friedrich Engels in Germany. Arnold Toynbee used this term in English for the first time. Now, when we talk about the initial phase of industrial revolution, or the first phase, it started in Britain. Now the question arises, why only in Britain? Why not in any other European nation? So let's discuss the factors that contributed to the industrial growth in Britain first. There were several factors responsible for starting the industrial revolution in Britain. The most prominent one was the political stability. Britain was the first country to experience modern industrialization, and it had been politically stable since the 17th century. It means that they have common laws, a single currency, and a market that was not fragmented by local authorities levying taxes on goods that passed through their areas, thus increasing their price. So, by the end of the 17th century, money was widely used as a medium of exchange. So, this helped in the proper functioning of the trade, a smoothing of trade, because earlier when money was not used as a medium of exchange, the barter system was there and many times the problems were faced. Now the second important factor was agricultural revolution. In the 18th century, England had been through a major economic changes, and one of this was the agricultural revolution. Many times you'll find a term called enclosure movement that started during this time. This was a process by which bigger landlords had brought up small farms near their own properties and enclosed the village common lands, thus creating very large estates and increasing the food production. So, this helped in the production. Next is hands were replaced by machines. This is somewhat the last point, role of inventions, because more and more machineries were built during this time. With the help of new inventions were taking place. Britain was in a very strong position because having many colonies, Britain was financially sound. So Britain was in a position to buy new inventions, create new machineries. Then the cheap labor. When the enclosure movement was on in Britain, the farm estates were created, enclosed farms were created, as I have already explained. So the many people who were landless laborers, they didn't find work for themselves. So they start moving or migrating to the towns and cities in search of jobs. So they provided the cheap labors to the newly opened industries. Then the cheap transportation is another important factor. Roadways, railways, waterways were developing during this time. The expansion of railways and waterways were comparatively cheaper modes of transportation and faster than the land. So all these things helped in expansion of the trade. The market areas and the factory areas were well connected with the roads. So this contributed to the growth of industries. Then another factor was the well-developed banking system. The center of country's financial system was the Bank of England, which was founded in 1694. And by 1784, there were many branches and many new 100 provincial banks were there in England, providing easy finances to the people. So all these things helped Britain to grow as the industrial power. Again, the use of currency, I have told you, helped in the smoothing of the trade activities in the nation. Another important thing or another factor responsible for the England's industrial growth was the availability of iron and coal. Now, this you will be studying another topic as you move further in this chapter. England is having a very good deposits of iron and coal. So, as you know, the iron and steel industry is the basic industry. Means it provides a base, or it provides the basic machinery for the other industries. So that is why it helped in the industrial growth that was taking place in Britain. Now, the next topic is coal and iron. England was fortunate in that coal and iron, the staple materials for the mechanization, were plentifully available, as were other minerals, lead, copper, and tin, that were used in the industry. However, until the 18th century, there was a scarcity of usable iron. Iron is drawn out from ores as pure liquid metal by a process called smelting. For centuries, charcoal was used for smelting process. This had several problems. Charcoal was too fragile to transport across long distances. Its impurities produced poor quality iron. It was in short supply because forests had been destroyed for timber, and it could not generate high temperature. So these were the limitations in the beginning, which were overcome later. Now, the credit goes to the Derbys of Shropshire. Now, they solved the family of Derbys. They solved this problem. The three generation of this family, grandfather, father, and son, all called Abraham Derby, brought about a revolution in the metallurgical industry. It began with an invention in 1709 by the first Abraham Derby. This was a blast furnace that would use coke, which would generate high temperatures. Coke was derived from coal by removing the sulfur and impurities. This invention meant that furnaces no longer had to depend on charcoal. The melted iron that emerged from these furnaces permitted finer and larger casting than before. Secondly, the process was further refined by more inventions. The second Derby developed wrought iron from the pig iron. This was again a great invention. Then the third, Derby. He built the first iron bridge in the world. Now student, here is the map of England, and as you can see that most of the iron mines are situated on the northeastern region. So England is fortunate to have many iron ore deposits which helped in developing the metal industry first in iron in England, sorry. Now another important invention was done by Henry Cott. He designed the puddling furnace, in which molten iron could be rid of impurities, and the rolling mill, which used steam power to roll purified iron into bars. It now became possible to produce a broader range of iron products. The durability of iron made it a better material than wood for everyday items and for machinery. Another important changes that occurred because of these inventions, like in 1770s, John Wilkinson made the first iron chairs, vats for breweries and distilleries, and iron pipes of all sizes. So this new metal helped in making many new products. The iron industry then came to be concentrated in specific regions as integrated units of coal mining and iron smelting. Britain was lucky in possessing excellent cooking coal and high grade iron ore in the same basins or even the same streams, as I've already shown you in the map. These basins were also close to ports. There were 5 coastal coal fields which could deliver their products almost straight into ships. Since the coal fields were near the coast, shipbuilding increased, as did the shipping trade. So, all these contributed to the expansion of trade in England. Now, we will discuss about the cotton, spinning, and weaving. There were many inventions that were taken place during this time. Some of the important ones were the flying shuttle loom. It was designed by John Kay in 1733. The machine made it possible to weave broader fabric in less time. The second important invention was the spinning jenny, made by James Hargreaves in 1765. With the help of this device, now a single person could spin several threads simultaneously. Third invention was the water frame, made by Richard Arkwright in 1769, which produces a stronger thread than before. Then the mule, made by Samuel Crompton in 1779. Spinning of strong yarn was possible with the help of mule. And then came the power loom, made by Edmund Cartwright in 1787. It can weave any kind of material, automatically works and stopped when thread breaks. So all these inventions gave a boost to the cotton spinning and weaving, and soon cotton industry or the textile industry became one of the prominent industry in England. So students, in this video we have discussed some of the important topics, like how the iron industry became one, iron and steel industry and cotton industry became the prominent industries in England. Why the industrialization first started in Britain. This is very important from exam point of view. I hope you like this session. Thank you for watching this video.